I just got to have one of the best movie theater experiences of my life because they just released the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith back into theaters. Yes, I have gotten to sit in a movie theater and watch Revenge of the Sith, and now I get to talk about it here for all of you. If you don't know me and you haven't seen anything on my channel, you know that I am a massive, massive, massive Star Wars fan. I might even be considered the biggest Star Wars fan ever, which is why I have been heartbroken the last 10 years seeing what Star Wars has become. Yes, I know Andor's out and people like Andor, and I know The Mandalorian was okay, but Disney Star Wars, it's just one of those things where all of their projects, it's like a collective version of Lord Voldemort. It's just thou shalt not say their name. We will not talk about Disney Star Wars anymore. But I grew up in the early 2000s with the prequels, and I absolutely adore Star Wars, and no Star Wars movie has been a bigger impact on my life than Revenge of the Sith. It is my favorite Star Wars movie ever, and it is a movie that I think pretty much brings together everything that I believe Star Wars is. What this world is, what these characters are, the magic of this galaxy far, far away. This is the movie, and I finally got to see it in theaters after a very, very long time since the last time I was able to see it in theaters. And it was a magical experience. I will say I've done multiple reviews of this movie and multiple videos talking about this movie on my channel. So I'm not going to sit here and go beat for beat and do a review of the movie. I just kind of want to talk about what this movie means to me as a Star Wars fan and why I think it is the pinnacle of Star Wars and why seeing it in a movie theater meant so much. Revenge of the Sith obviously came out in 2005 and was the capstone of the prequel trilogy that George Lucas had created. It also represents pretty much the last hurrah of George Lucas in the Star Wars universe. Of course, he did make the Clone Wars after that, and he had plans to make other projects, but this was his last cinematic piece of art that he gave us in this world before he shipped Star Wars off to the killing field, aka Kathleen Kennedy's backyard. And it is the final story of Anakin's tragic downfall to Darth Vader, and although it's episode 3, the middle of this larger saga of 6 movies, it really also feels like the end. Of course, it was the last Star Wars movie ever made. They never made another one after this, so in a way, this was the final Star Wars film. And because it's the final Star Wars film, it needs to feel like both an ending for everybody who had been sitting through these movies for years and experiencing the greatness of Star Wars, but it also needs to feel like a middle chapter and the middle point going into A New Hope, and I think he did such a great job accomplishing this. I know a lot of people hate on this movie because there is some cringy dialogue. Hayden Christensen does not give the greatest performance ever, but hey, even the bad parts about this movie, even the cringy dialogue and some of the bad lines have become so big in our culture of film and Star Wars that they make the movie better. Watching this movie in a theater for the first time in years, some of these moments, yeah, it occurred to me, they're not very good. That exchange with Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafar, which we can all quote. It's one of the greatest things ever. Hearing it in a big theater, on a big screen, with big sort of speakers around me. I cringed a little bit at some of those lines. You will try. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But something I realized sitting there watching this movie is that if those lines didn't exist, this movie would not be what it is. The fact that it is goofy gives this film character. It makes it Star Wars, god damn it. It makes it Revenge of the Sith. And experiencing all of these great moments from the opening of the movie where Anakin says, "This is where the fun begins," to the great fight with Count Dooku, to Anakin going back to Coruscant and slowly getting into it with Palpatine and the Jedi Council, and Obi-Wan being sent off to fight Grievous, and Anakin falling to the dark side, and Order 66, and everything that happens in this movie, all of the great battles, Obi-Wan and Grievous, Anakin and Dooku, Mace Windu and Palpatine. I mean, everything that happens in this movie, is it perfect? Is it a perfect movie? No, I wouldn't say that, but everything feels meaningful, both to me as a nostalgic person watching this film for the 5,000th time, loving all of these moments I adored as a child, but also as just a movie that builds the world of Star Wars. It feels like the cherry on top of everything that George Lucas had built. It has the lightsaber fights, the Force, the characters that we love, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Palpatine. It has the world building that it just used to be so great before Disney got a hold of this thing. A world that feels alive, with a rich history, with a mystique about it. You don't truly understand everything that's going on in this world, or the Force, and you don't feel like you need to understand it. There is a mystery veiled there, and that's okay. Not all needs to be revealed. Characters who are powerful feel like they're powerful for a reason, that they've trained for decades, right? They're not just, hey, I have a lightsaber for the first time ever, and I'm also a Czech, so I guess that makes me more powerful because Kathleen Kennedy is my producer. This movie has everything that works in Star Wars. Epic battles, great music, great characters, epic world building. It's just, to me, me, maybe not the perfect movie, yet again, there are cringy things in here, but it is the perfect Star Wars experience, and it's the movie that anytime I'm in the mood to watch Star Wars, I sit down and watch this. And I want to thank Disney for allowing this movie to come back out. I know thanking Disney is crazy, but allowing them to do this re-release is so meaningful, because for the first time in 10 years, the first time since The Force Awakens came out, I sat down in a movie theater and was excited about Star Wars, and was excited about the love that I have for this franchise, and was ready to share it amongst an audience of my peers, sitting around watching this, experiencing this universe that made us all fall in love with the lightsabers and the toys and the action figures and the comic books and the animation and the books. It was so nice again, because I feel like for the last 10 years, all it's been out of Star Wars is misery, depression, a horror show after horror show after horror show of just me getting on YouTube and complaining about what they've done to my boy. So I appreciate this. And although, no, this does not save Star Wars, you know, it's a movie that's been out for 20 years, it does not save it. It is a reminder to all of us what we once had and what Kathleen Kennedy stole from us. We could have had more movies like this, we could have had more content like this, and now I think the Star Wars brand that was really built and sort of hit its epitome at this moment in 2005 with the release of Revenge of the Sith. That Star Wars brand that was at this height, that was able to deliver something like this, something so magical like Revenge of the Sith, has now been watered down to something so minuscule and shit that even when they do put out something good like Andor, seriously, who's talking about Andor other than people like, you know, in echo chambers like this on the internet? I dare you to go out in public to like random people and ask them if they've watched Andor. Nobody has. And that's sad, but that is what Kathleen Kennedy has done to Star Wars, and I hope everybody gets to go and enjoy their rewatch of Revenge of the Sith at a movie theater this weekend. Get to enjoy what Star Wars actually was supposed to be, baby! That's my video. Just wanted to hop on and talk about Revenge of the Sith, my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. Did you guys get to see it again this weekend? Let me know. Let me know down below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more notifications. I'll see you in the next one.